The world woke up to sheer disbelief this morning. In a move that has sent shockwaves across the globe, Israel has carried out an unprecedented large-scale airstrike targeting over 100 Iranian nuclear and military sites. The assault, involving more than 200 Israeli jets, is being described as one of the most audacious and consequential military actions of the 21st century. Global leaders are scrambling for answers, the UN is pleading for restraint, and ordinary citizens everywhere are asking the same terrifying question. Are we witnessing the dawn of a full-scale Middle East war? The Israeli military confirmed it launched the operation in the early hours of Friday, June 13, 2025, striking key Iranian nuclear facilities, military bases, and strategic command centers. The damage is staggering. Among the casualties are Iran's top military figures, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, the powerful chief of staff of Iran's armed forces, and General Hossein Salami, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran's state-run Tasnim news agency also reported at least 50 civilians injured, as some of the bombs hit residential areas, sparking outrage in the international community. But what triggered such a massive and risky offensive? According to the Israel Defense Forces, this was a preemptive strike deemed necessary by the country's top security chiefs. In a chilling official statement, they declared Iran's nuclear weapons program had reached the point of no return. Intelligence reports suggest that Iran now possesses enough enriched uranium for at least 9 nuclear weapons. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that the attack was launched to ensure the survival of the Jewish state against a regime he accused of openly plotting Israel's annihilation. He claimed the intention was not to harm the Iranian people but to cripple the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed them for 46 years. While Israeli officials speak of existential threats and strategic timing, the rest of the world is gripped by fear and fury. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, vowed that Israel must expect severe punishment. His warning wasn't just rhetorical. Just hours after the Israeli attack, Iran retaliated by launching over 100 armed drones toward Israeli territory. Jordan, which immediately closed its airspace, reported that it had intercepted and shot down several drones crossing its skies. It's now clear, this is no longer a surgical military operation. The cycle of retaliation has begun. The reactions from global powers have ranged from urgent calls for de-escalation to harsh condemnations. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the attack and expressed deep concern over the targeting of nuclear sites, while negotiations with the U.S. on Iran's nuclear program were still underway. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, warned of grave consequences if military action jeopardizes nuclear facilities, saying the fallout could threaten not just Iran, but the entire region and beyond. NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte labeled it a unilateral act and stressed the urgent need for Israel's allies, especially the U.S., to step in and dial down the temperature. The United States, while distancing itself from the operation, admitted it was notified in advance. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. was not involved in the strikes and that its priority now is to protect American forces in the region. He also issued a stern warning to Iran: do not target U.S. personnel or interests. Across the Middle East, the backlash against Israel has been swift and intense. Iraq, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Qatar have all condemned the assault as a violation of international law and a reckless provocation. Turkey said Israel's attack was a clear indication that it does not wish to resolve conflicts diplomatically. Saudi Arabia described the attacks as heinous and called on the UN Security Council to intervene immediately. Even Iran's regional rivals, like the UAE and Jordan, have stressed restraint but voiced strong disapproval of Israel's decision to escalate. Meanwhile, support for Iran's right to respond is growing among its allies. Yemen's Houthi rebels endorsed Tehran's retaliation and defended its nuclear ambitions, while the militant group Hamas called the Israeli airstrikes a dangerous escalation. Pakistan, which does not recognize Israel, strongly condemned what it termed unjustified attacks. warning that such actions pose a threat to global peace. The wider international community appears to be holding its breath. China urged all parties to avoid further provocation, warning of grave consequences. Russia called it a sharp escalation and pressed for immediate de-escalation. Even traditionally pro-Israel countries like France and Germany walked a tightrope, acknowledging Israel's right to self-defense, but urging both sides to avoid igniting a broader conflict. What does all of this mean for the Middle East and for the world? For the region, this could be the tipping point. If Iran follows through with its vow to punish Israel severely, and if the drone retaliation escalates into missile warfare, there could be a full-scale regional war involving Iran's allies, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and militias in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. This is not just a bilateral spat anymore. It's a geopolitical time bomb. For the world at large, the implications are equally dire. The price of oil is already spiking amid fears of disruptions in the Persian Gulf. Global markets are jittery. Flights have been rerouted, and nations with troops in the region are putting their militaries on high alert. And then there's the nuclear angle. If even one of Iran's facilities was damaged enough to release radioactive material, we could be dealing with an environmental and humanitarian catastrophe. For Europe, this conflict presents a nightmarish scenario. Not only does it threaten to destabilize energy imports and spike inflation, but it also exposes the continent's limited influence over escalating military tensions. While European leaders like UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas are calling for calm, their pleas may do little to sway either side. France's dual message, urging restraint while defending Israel's right to respond, illustrates the diplomatic paralysis gripping much of the West. Will the world's chorus of restraint make any difference? That remains the billion-dollar question. Israel believes it had no choice but to act preemptively. Iran believes it has every right to respond. In such a scenario, does logic prevail or pride? Can diplomacy really put out a fire this big? Or is the international community once again about to watch helplessly as the Middle East descends into a firestorm of war? If history is any guide, the signs are not encouraging. And while global leaders scramble to issue statements and organize emergency meetings, missiles and drones are already in the air. This moment could define the decade. The stakes are sky high. As the fog of war thickens, the question on everyone's lips is terrifyingly simple. Is World War III closer than we think? Your perspective matters. What do you make of Israel's deadly attacks on Iran and Iran launching drones in retaliation? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our current affairs channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.